Okay, malungili tasil sa mergit rogui. Ilata mo du commercial toksora PNSB Palau National Scholarship Award. Tira okay ka nga studio la tasil sa malakmo algo yung sanga. Ngel kabil ball open na program mergit. Kamot yang claim kabil eh. Ako yung namla ekor
Alright. Tasulang spy the malungili tasil sa lekor marokul other tel radio station na gidra nga rel belaw. Aklutal marmay comment aklutal marma ngalop titira kuk PSL group pra interns mau erado ko ra move forward dedik po kum tira man ngartyang ra other obis mar board members ra PNSB edibo gudar sa susra man moral leaders sergid makot edibo gudar sa maltmol susra man mora atanga kal president surang al Whips Junior madire kal atanga kal vice president udu sa ngabaw senior mar member sa cabinet aktire kal modar sa susura malmora senate president Hokons Paules marbe kal senators edire kal modar sa susura malmora speaker Sabino Anastasio marbe kal delegates aktire kal malodar sa susura malmora Ibadul Maraklay Marubukul Belaw madire kal Bilung maebi Raklay maramasil Belaw Selma mangulubong le udar sa susura malmorar governors mar speakers regal bakal state rar abulur belaw tamal masalar leaders regi dra ko mring lureril gire labalwat. So like I said, I'm back again. Tiang amo mong ongay mal talk show mam elal samer. Tirgal guest tergi der elal sales medical na momre talk show tirang recipient terseldo makadorngil Palau Fellowship Award. Before ako explain ito program introduce nga kakmla office. So nga kankle ka morisang uduy nga ka order sel office rigi dra Palau National Scholarship Office. So tegi del program el Palau Fellowship Award tiang tiragi del pomoreng certira recipient terngi so Palau National Scholarship for the Harawati tertira el Merbelaw ito rior el 8 weeks lo pengela office niya related del mora self field of study sel mature tira school so during that 8 weeks lo rior PNSB dira kal hour der tira $400 sel bi-weekly throughout the whole 8 weeks so el alsil sa kada moreng sir tira kuk mo share experiences sir tira gagi del internship per tira el summer madira kal kuk experiences sir tira school makpay mo idea olgi yung lan mortir matapay mo der start tiral introducer tir. We can start with Kazoya.
Ali malungit ita sinse marga daragoy nga kangkla ka Kazoya Hope H nga kangaligel la Clara Saburo ma Sheldon Milton nga kangal kora olay nga kamlora school ra Koror Elementary School like tilov dara Palau High School nga kangal kora tay nga kara UOC major nga ka philosophy and I minor in anthropology so lang
ali nga kangkla ka maling ka Faimaw nga kangal kara iray akmar school iray elementary school mlara Palau High School Yakno graduate temnora elak nga skura Northern Arizona University musubra biomedical sciences at pre-med.
Hi, my name is Masinyira Malao. I'm from PLU. I attended SDA and PMA, and then afterwards I went to PCC, and when I graduated I transferred to Eastern Oregon University where I majored in economics.
Alright. Kumar masulang legal introduction sa kami. So maybe you guys can start off and let us know kung kumulurio regir ilal samer. Wata ang na supervisor sa kami. Michael Corrade litas ka kami sa laboratorio rapid sales.
So nga kaneurio BCHP, which stands for Bureau of Cultural and Historical Preservation. Supervisor nga kan saning irmang nga kamlaudior I would do my main task was to nominate sites that was assigned to us. So my main site was Bura Arakamais, which I'm sure you guys know of. Sa ngarap tululaang. We also followed our bosses around to meetings, did meeting notes, and then we also monitored sites. to ensure the safety and preservation of those sites as well.
All right. Thank you.
So for my internship, pakmara PCCCRE, which is the Cooperative Research and Extension. Yeah, supervisor nga kami Dr. Christopher Gitalong and kind of everyone that was in the specialty of that field. So some of the tasks that I did was mentoring Pacific Step Up students with laboratory research and stuff that they wanted to present at the DC conference. Addition to that, we had summer student contractors ng CRE to kind of help them through early exposure to science. So it can be agriculture, aquaculture, and many varieties. And then along with that, takme set up a laboratory na CRE, which was, of course, there were a lot of experiments going on, but then over time, there wasn't anyone there for a lab technician, so I came over to kind of help and jumpstart the laboratory again for future continuation of the projects that we do.
Thank you.
So I interned at the Asian Development Bank. I was under the
Ma'am,
senior-
na switch ra may ko.
So I was under the senior operations assistant, Zoe Quintaro, and then I also shadowed the country director, Alfonso Koshiba. We did a lot of liaison work. We would attend or host meetings between different agencies that were working with ADB. Sometimes they would come to solicit advice, or we would talk with them about certain projects that ADB was helping finance. Along with that, we also did a lot of writing work. Like we would keep track of like all the projects that were done here in Palau or were administered regionally. Sometimes I would help the country director like write some of her reports. She would guide me on like, what to research or like look at. Yeah.
All right. So as college student, you do a lot of writing, reading, and of course learning in the classroom for these two. But do you think kaigal knowledge at school, were you able to put them into practice somewhere?
For the most part, yes, especially learning anthropology under Dr. Bill Jeffrey. Shout out to Dr. Bill if you're watching this. I learned a lot from him, especially with dealing with Section 106 processes, which is something that we also learned about during our first week of working at the BCHP. I think Dr. Bill gave me a lot of tools that I needed to do this job efficiently. So I would say yes, that this actually has prepared me to do my job better, but my job also has taught me how to approach my academic studies and my academic journey as well.
All right.
So in regards to classrooms, for the biomedical science majors, we were required to take 3 hours of laboratory classes. So a lot of them was like learning how to do lab safety, lab risk assessments. So a lot of those skills that were learned were applied to the lab technician position that I got at the CRE laboratory. So having to implement those and then rearranging the laboratory per like the standards of it was really fun. In addition to that, as an undergraduate researcher under Dr. Naomi Lee's lab, she taught us how to do scientific writings for abstracts and then like how to do posters and then presentations of scientific research. So learning those skills that she taught us and then implementing those for the Pacific Step Up students to kind of have them start learning those at an early age was definitely something that I'm happy that I implemented. So yeah.
All right.
So when I was interviewed, right, before I started my internship at ADB, they told me, yes, a lot of the material is, like stuff you learn in the class, but it would also be like somewhat different, like applying it in real life. And it's been like that. But I'm also glad because a lot of the content that they've covered, like market demand or like economies of scale or allocating resources, that's, they talk about that when we're working, or when they bring it up during meetings, like how to, how to allocate money for like certain projects, or like which resources go where. It's I'm familiar with it.
All
Not
right.
entirely, but
Yes. Okay. So what would you say has been the highlight or tell internship experience sa kami summer? We can start with Yumsi.
Okay. I think it was like meeting new people, like getting the chance to meet like other economists or other consultants who, like work in the field of economics. Before then, I didn't like meet a lot of them, but when I started interning at ADB, I got to see like a lot of different people and hear a lot from them, what they work, what they do, their experiences, and it was really nice.
All right.
So I interned at CRA before, and then coming back after 2 years to see like the growth of the program that they have for the high school students was definitely something that I appreciated, and I was like, oh my gosh, like there are more students coming in to join the program to learn more about Palauan culture and Palauan agricultures and stuff like that. So it was definitely something that I appreciated, and seeing that the program was able to give out more opportunities for students that are curious about science.
All right.
For me, I think my highlight is definitely working with like the people at the bureau, like Sunny, Irmang, and Calvin and Michelle. Especially Calvin, I've read a lot of his work, his anthropology surveys, and the late Rita Alsudong. She was the one of the only female our anthropologist, archaeologist here in Palau. So actually working with him and getting to be on the field with him and seeing how he's working and him in action actually made me want to, pursue this kind of path. And I even told him, like, I'm coming for your position because this is like what I want. I know what I want to do now because of this internship opportunity. And another highlight is probably definitely seeing the historical or cultural sites. I've never, like this summer, I've visited Salmuutul Balurang, Rutae, Rangaramloy, and I've never seen, an ancient village before, but it was so cool to see it firsthand, and the fact that these are the kind of things that we get to do in this job, and these are the kinds of things we get to experience, I think is really cool and really like wonderful, and I think it really empowers me as Palauan, young Palauan woman especially, and it motivates me to want to continue this path.
All right. Thank you. So overall, looking back at your internship, did you learn something? Was there something new that you were able to learn, or what did you learn out of everything?
Well, one of the things I would say I learned from observation, looking at like my bosses and the people I worked with, is just the integrity and passion of the job. Like I see how well and how much love they put into their work. They don't do it for monetary purposes. They do it because it's something they love, and then the money follows, and that's just a bonus. I think doing it for that reason alone makes the job all the more worth it to continue to pursue. And I also learned like true work ethic from them. I truly am inspired by their work ethic and how much dedication they put into their reports or their surveys, or how much hours they put into that. I also want to do that one day, and for me to see that firsthand also, I think I will definitely use that as a tool for me to grow as a student and one day as a worker.
All right.
I think honestly the importance of what agriculture and aquaculture is for like Abalura Belao, like we've come to like be more reliant on imported goods, but seeing our people more focused on building our own crops and like having our own like food sustainability and food security for ourselves, but having to see like younger students become aware of that and then want to act on it was definitely something that I learned was very important. And knowing, over the internship, I learned that there were a lot of students that were definitely wanting to pursue something in that field. But whether it's research or or researchers and everything, but then there's not a lot of opportunities or guidance towards that. So having to learn that, maybe this is something that the students would want in the long run, and having to kind of start something for them and kind of lay a template or a blueprint for them. So I think that was something cool.
All right.
I think I learned how versatile economics was, studying in the classroom and then actually witnessing what economists do, or the work that they do is it was different. I thought maybe I would just be doing stuff with numbers a lot, but it does, you do more than that. You talk with people, it involves a lot of planning between agencies and stuff. And my time at ADB and in this internship, it really helped, I guess, reaffirm my commitment to wanting to finish my degree, because at one point I was unsure if economics was for me, but during my internship I really liked it. Yeah, how different it could be, what you would learn, what you would do. It was really nice. And then to meet all the other economists who were coming to Palau, even for a short while, it was nice. I really wanted to do work like them, or be a student mentor or something. I really liked it there.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right. So maybe we can talk a little bit about college. What made you choose the university that you're in right now? And then also, what made you choose the field of study, your major?
So I chose UOG because so that's home to me, and I've always had it in the back of my mind wanting to go back, and I knew that there was a university there and I wanted to go. So that was part of the reason why I definitely wanted to go back. Choosing my major wasn't very easy because you never really know what you want to do once you get out of high school. Planning ahead and thinking about the future is kind of scary. So when I went into college, I honestly I was already going to PCC and I took liberal arts, but they didn't have liberal arts at UOG, so then I just took something that was pretty general, so I chose philosophy. And once I took my first class of philosophy, it kind of just affirmed me wanting to stay in that direction. But I think the direction of philosophy that I definitely want to pursue is indigenous philosophy. I think that's definitely my passion, to kind of stick to the cultural side of ethics, and I think it's a great tool to have in my it's a great tool to have, and I think that it pairs very well with anthropology, my minor, and so I think that's definitely my passion at the moment, and I think I can see myself having a future with these two in mind.
All right.
So mine's a pretty long story. I went to school in the Philippines, but then COVID happened, so I left. And then I decided to go back to school, so I went to EOU for a little bit, for a year, but then they didn't have the opportunities for me to kind of get myself into research or get myself prepared for medical school. So I decided to look out for something different. So I met a professor here, Rabelao. I met a professor at NAU, my current university, that was here for work purposes. And when I met her, she said that there was an opportunity for me to be in her laboratory to do kind of research for underrepresented communities. And that was kind of her focus for indigenous representation. So I was like, okay, maybe this would be a better opportunity. So I reached out to her and I asked her if the offer was still up. And she said yes. So I ended up transferring to Northern Arizona. And that was kind of where it all started. And then I initially majored in biology, but it was very broad, and I wanted more of a human biology focus, so I ended up changing it to biomedical science as a pre-med. So that's kind of how I ended up there. And choosing my major.
For me, I'm actually really grateful because after I graduated high school, I wasn't sure what I wanted to major in or what I wanted to do. And when I went to PCC, I really liked it. It was nice, It's great for, kids who, want the experience of college life without having to leave off island. You learn a lot, you grow there. And that's when I decided, I wanted to, do economics. And my advisor there actually told me about, the EOU online program. So it's, a fully online, bachelor's. After I graduated PCC, all my credits were, transferable. So when I started EOU, I was already a junior.
Right.
And I'm thankful for that, because I don't want to, I wanted to, get my degree. I wanted to learn. But I was, worried. If I left Palau, it was, COVID and everything. So I'm glad that I got the opportunity to learn about the online program. And I'm thankful that, while I was at PCC, I was able to figure out what I wanted to do.
I see.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all for sharing. So, what has been the most challenging experience in college? I think I would like to hear from Masi first, being that her situation is a bit different because she's an online student. So it would be interesting to hear what has been your challenges in college so far.
Being an online student is great, but it definitely takes a lot of commitment. Because you're not in a classroom with other students who you can go to them for help or who'll push you forward. You have contact with your professors, but that they're all the way across the Pacific Ocean. When you email them, of course you gotta wait because of the time difference. So you really have to be you have to plan out your time well when you're an online student. Sometimes you have to learn on your own, but if you are really dedicated, it's not too hard.
I see.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think the most challenging part is financial support. So I initially, the university that I'm in doesn't offer a lot of scholarship for Pacific Islanders, so I had to kind of work my way through and try to find other sources outside of the university for scholarships. So of course PNSB has been amazing funding my school, so I'm really grateful for that. But then also navigating through financial aid because initially when I went, nobody knew what COFA was. So having to navigate and help them through what COFA is and how they could help me with my papers, that was something of a challenge. And then finding other scholarships out of the university was also you have to check all the boxes to make sure that you're eligible. So, but I was fortunate enough to find a couple that was definitely helpful to fund my school. And then I guess also trying to find a community that you belong. There's a good handful of Pacific Islanders, but other were saying. So it's not like I could relate to anyone culturally, but then again having to go there and kind of see that there are other people with different cultural backgrounds, but then this isn't you shouldn't just look for people with your culture, but rather be more diverse and inclusive and find a different community that you belong. So something like that. Yeah.
Thank you.
One of the many challenges that I faced, I think, is in my first semester there, and up until now I'm still working on it, was definitely my discipline. When you're in high school, it's a little bit easier because you wake up at a set time and then school finishes at a set time. So you wake up before 8 and then you get to school at 8. So for me, it was that kind of discipline that I didn't have. You have a lot of freedom in college, so you have to be very, very wise about how you use it and how responsible you are with it. You can choose not to go to class and the professor wouldn't care. But at the end it shows in your grades and in the progress that you weren't there for a lot of it. So one of the things that I struggled with was getting a schedule and getting used to that freedom and being responsible with that freedom, because it's so easy to slip off and get out. Like, you can skip class one time and then you find yourself continuing to do that, and you find yourself in that habit of skipping because it's the freedom. So then I had to really work hard to kind of set this kind of schedule for myself, because high school has that set schedule, and then so I had to kind of find a schedule that worked for me, that I was able to kind of accustom myself to, so that I can actually make it to my class and pass. I think I think this is the biggest issue a lot of us college student face, is definitely the burnout. The burnout gets so intense and so real when you're in it, and it's scary to witness your friend in a burnout, like school burnout, work burnout. And then when you're in that burnout yourself, it's even scarier because you're not sure when it's going to end, or when it's, when you can get back on your grind. And it's very hard to, it's a mental thing. Like, school is great and everything, and we're obviously appreciative of all the opportunities we get from PNSB and from FAFSA and from the scholarships that are offered for us Pacific Islanders. But at the same time, there's a lot of pressure on us with, getting higher education and coming back and helping the economy. We always hear that, "Kemen muter mer belaw and star other belaw," which of course that's on my mind and I want to do that, but also the pressure is there and it's on to do your best and to represent well. And so when the going gets tough, it gets very intense. And so that was something that I had to really work in. But luckily my mom, my number one supporter, is always telling me it's okay to take a break. It's okay to breathe. It's okay to push your grad date back. That was something that I had to learn the hard way. I was really sad that my graduation date was pushed back, but I realized that it's better to do something that you can handle than take on something you can't, and then you end up messing it up or failing. So I think these are the things that I'm pretty sure all of us college students face, and you're not alone. So yeah, those.
All right, thank you. So to follow that up, what are your positive? What have been your positive experience in college? Maybe you can go first.
My positive experience is definitely meeting the people that I met, networking. I'm pretty sure we all met some amazing people. My friends are definitely the people that have kept me going even when I burnt out. My professors also, they have given me a lot of great advice and a lot of tools. I've cried to them about school and about life, and it's the fact that they're there and they're willing to listen that makes college life a little bit more easier and definitely worth it. I definitely think the friends along the way obviously are also very I learned to be open to more different kind of adversity, like you said, learning people's different backgrounds and learning their cultural dynamics and learning the kind of people they are. I kind of adapt. I see myself adapting little parts of their personality traits, and then I become a little of them. So I think that's definitely one of the greatest positive experiences that I have in college. I said high school. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
I think one of the positive experiences that I've had is Sakplara school, student organizations or student clubs that I could possibly join that could broaden or enhance my professional development or personal development. So I did what I can, and I am currently in 2 different student organizations, plus the research position that I have. Those allowed me to travel to different states in the U.S. to attend personal conferences or professional conferences, and through those conferences ako nasabak network with different universities that were offering graduate programs or looking for students for post-baccalaureate programs. stuff like that, because those are something that you're gonna have to think about after you graduate. So having to be exposed to those early on was definitely something that I was really appreciated, and I was like, oh, this is a good experience, and I hope to continue on.
Yes.
So I guess for me it's a bit different.
Oh, yes.
Because I'm online. But I would say that one of the positives is that, you know, you're home. You have the support of your family. You know, you don't have to, you know, rush to class if you're late, or like catch the bus or the train, or like, you know, be off island. So I guess that was really good for me. You know, I was here, like my mom, you know, I had my mom's support. I was at my house. So I think, you know, I guess it just made it easier. Yeah, because I was just online. I had, you know, I could do my homework whenever, really.
Right.
Like, as long as I did before the due date, and I was like, oh, that's pretty good. Yeah.
All right. So, what are your plans after college? Do you plan on pursuing, continuing your education, or tell us more?
So after college, yes. So right now, my plan after college is definitely to pursue my master's degree. I plan to go to the University of Hawaii at Manoa. I want to pursue indigenous philosophy and Pacific Island studies, as well as continue my minor in anthropology. I think that's one of my greatest passions, because culture is very important, you know, in Palau and the rest of the Pacific Islands, and I want to do my part as much as I can to help preserve that and help, you know, continue to pass it along and pass it forward for the future generations. And I think the best way to do that is to just to get my education and to continue to spread awareness. And I think the best way I can help is to get my experience. So I also plan on trying to continue to go to our conferences. I think that's the best way to present my work and to, you know, bring awareness and create funding to help programs that can spread these awareness to schools, to youth. Yeah, that's at the moment that's my rough draft of my plan, but yeah.
Okay.
I also have a rough draft. a rough plan.
Please share.
So initially, I'm a post-baccalaureate program at National Institute of Health, but then I went over to DC a week ago in Maldat year and kind of orient myself around the programs that they offer. Unfortunately, they do not offer like for COFA students. So that was something that I had to learn the hard way. So I'm kind of drifting my plan or perspectives towards that. So rather than doing a post-baccalaureate at NIH, I want to do something like a prep program. So I'm going to look into different post-baccalaureate programs in different universities and see if they have a post-baccalaureate program that kind of preps these students to go into medical school. So those can be like having to teach you like how to take an MCAT exam for medical school, or how do you get yourself started to even start studying, and kind of tell you like what medical school is like. So I'm currently looking into one of the programs that's offered in Kansas City. So that's something that I'm doing now. I just don't want to take a gap year and not do anything. So I'm taking kind of like a gap year but doing something towards my time, if that makes sense. But in the long run, I want to go to medical school and then come home and serve my community.
I think after I graduate, I think I want to work.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to like look for a job, you know, and then start paying back.
All right.
Yeah.
That sounds good. I have one question for Masi.
Yeah.
Would you ever consider like having experienced the online student life? You would consider going to like an actual school, or?
Yeah, like yeah, I would consider it. You know,
Yeah.
if the opportunity arises, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think because like both have their ups and downs. You know,
Right.
there's stuff that online school is better for, and then there's stuff that like being on campus is
Right,
good for.
say.
Yeah.
But so, thank you. It's so interesting to see the Ramaldi, the nakakaroon sa background there, and then Masi is an online student, on campus. So, mbuto ka teal. So, I think that's really good that you guys are sharing your experiences. Another question. What advice would you give to Palawans that are currently on island that are thinking of applying for school off island or online school? What advice can you give them to like help them prepare better or just motivate them?
It's okay not to know what you're doing. You don't have to have the whole thing figured out right now or tomorrow. It's definitely okay to do that. Like, and also to take advantage of the people who are there, like your advisors in high school, or if you started at PCC, that's really great too. You know, I started out at PCC and it was like a really good, experience. Like, Missy said, it was a great college experience. I got to see how, a taste of what it would be like if I attended college, and how, to be like more responsible in my own schedule and my own academics. I think one of the things I would say is to definitely take advantage of all the opportunities that are given to students and to Pacific Islanders, especially if there is those opportunities. Definitely take advantage of them, because college is expensive and it takes, a lot to pay for it. So I definitely think that, not just PNSB and FAFSA, but if there's any other scholarship opportunities, just take the opportunity to, apply, and you never know if you're going to get them or not. It's better to try than not to try. And also, if you're going to be in your first year of college, or if you're going into your second year, third, it's definitely okay to take a breather, to take a break, and it's okay to not be okay. I've been there, and the burnout is real, and don't invalidate those feelings when you feel like it gets a little too hard, because college gets really hard, to be honest. So I definitely think that it's important to really think about your mental health, because you still have a long way to go. It shouldn't just stop at your bachelor's. If you can bring it to your master's, if you can bring it to your graduate school, if your PhD, if you can bring it back home and continue, like, that's amazing. But along the way, it's definitely okay to take those breaks that are needed, and to have fun and reward yourself when possible. So that's definitely the advice I'd give.
All right, thank you.
That was very nice advice. Yeah. I think for young Palauans who just graduated out of high school, is honestly like always plan. I always like thought that planning like your whole life is not great. But then now that I think about it, it's probably a good idea, even if it's just a rough draft. But just having a sort of an idea of what you want to do, whether it's like, oh yeah, like you're interested in this, try it, but also like not be afraid to ask questions, and then not be afraid of financial support, because I think a lot of like our other Belao like wants to go study, but a lot of them are afraid of the financial like the tuitions that they have to pay, because it's like really hard to pay for school. But then now that we have like the opportunity to pay in-state tuition, having students pay a decent amount of tuition for their education, I think there's a lot of opportunities out there for students to financially support themselves. And then if it comes to like students that are, let's say, out of high school, they go to PCC, and then they take a couple gaps in their long run, and then they want to go back to school. But then I've met a couple people that are a lot older in age, but they still want to continue school, but then they are afraid of like, oh, I'm a little older. If I go to college, I'm gonna be the older one in the classroom or anything. It doesn't matter. Like, education is not a race. I'm definitely like the oldest one in my classroom sometimes, and that's okay. Like, I'm still there to get my education. I'm there for the same reason. So I think that's just something to have in the mental, just have it for yourself, and you're there for the same reason. Doesn't matter.
I see.
So like they said, it's a good investment, whether you're fresh out of high school or you've been out of school for a while. It's a good investment to make. And, now we have more opportunities. There's COFA, financial aid, you have PNSB to back you up. The trick is to, know what works best for you, whether you want to go off island or you want to stay here and, work and then take your classes. There are a lot of opportunities out there. And, so you shouldn't be discouraged if one doesn't work for you. You should pick something that you like, and then, there are people who can help you achieve it. You shouldn't be afraid to reach out.
All right, thank you. So last question, is there anybody in your life that you would like to acknowledge, someone or anybody that has helped you throughout your educational journey?
Yeah.
First and foremost, my mother. Thank you, Clara. You're the best. She's always there when I need her, always giving me encouragement. There was a semester where I was literally the most financially unstable, and she was there to help me. And it's, you never want to burden your parents, especially when you're out of when you're in college and you don't want to ask them for money. But she was ready, willing to give it all up for me, and I'm really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. So I just can't wait for the day that I graduate and get my master's and my PhD, so I can buy her a truck that's green, because she wants a green truck, and a nice house. I also want to thank PNSB, of course. Like without like their assistance and the help, not just that, like they really give good financial advice too, like how to allot money to certain things and how to be financially responsible. So without their help and their financial assistance, I do not think that I would have made it this far on my own. FAFSA, you're great. And then obviously the professors, Dr. Bill, like I said, and I just want a special shout out to Sunny and Yermang and everybody who works at BCHP for making the internship literally the best experience that I could ask for, and I have learned a lot from them, and I will definitely take it with me until the next time I come back to take their job.
Right.
First and foremost, of course, my family that have supported me throughout the whole my academic journey, and then of course PNSB for funding my school. I feel like without them I wouldn't have come this far. And Dr. Christopher Gitalong, who has given me more than twice of a pep talk to get me through college. And then we have Dr. Naomi Lee, who's also my who's my professor, but also my mentor at NAU. And the amount of times that she's advocated for me for whether it's student organizations or scholarships, and the amount of reference letters that I've asked for her. I don't think I wouldn't have gotten the scholarships and stuff if it wasn't for her. Yeah, I think that's
all right.
So first and foremost, my mom, she has been my biggest supporter throughout all these years. She's pushed me to go to college, to get my degree. She's helped me along the way so many times, it's unbelievable. So I'm so thankful for her, because maybe if she wasn't pushing as hard as she did, I don't know if I would, be here, do this internship, or be getting my degree in economics. So I'm very thankful for her and for the rest of my family, because it's not easy when you go to college, right? You have responsibilities to your family, to your community, and, they've all helped me. They've all helped me to get me where I am today, so I can't forget that. And also PNSB. For the last how many years, thank you, PNSB.
All right. Well, that's all the questions I have for you, ladies. Kamram sulang almnay mo kumkuk share experiences sa kamira internship, makuk experiences sa kamira college. If you have any questions regarding the Palau Fellowship Award, please di mo call our office ka ma'am 488-3608. Hindi na ka sabi email nga pnsbinternship@gmail.com. And I just want to thank everyone. I'm lost of either tune in o miss. Maorang Serta Shorgi the afternoon. We're going to have our last talk show tomorrow with the last group of interns. So it's going to be the same time. Kluku at 2 p.m. So please tune in for that one as well. Thank you to the typical employers at the interns at LLCs. And that's all we got for today. Komral Masulang.
Okay, malungli tasil sa mergi dro kuy. Sige daw lang la talk show gidra PNSB Palau National Scholarship Award. Ya kluku gang mari sel mo mongol bangol. Dile ka do sisil time ra 8 o'clock. Malungli tasil sa klubu ko mergi dro kuy.